Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. I'm your host, Sheldon McKinney, and today we have Mr. David Wayne with us. He is the newly appointed Executive Director of the Farm Services Agency here in Kentucky. He has had an incredible career trajectory that we're going to talk about today, and his history with Kentucky FFA at the local and state level has been really rich. And so I'm excited for him to get to share more about that with you guys. So let's get started. David, welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners and share a bit about just how deep your FFA roots are?
Uh, Sheldon, first off, thanks for having me. It's I consider it an honor to be here
Yeah.
because of the importance that FFA has to me. But yeah, it's good to be here. So, like Sheldon said, my name is David Wayne. Born and raised in Taylor County, Kentucky. Grew up on a beef cattle and tobacco farm. Had the early years of pulling tobacco plants and watching Dad cut and rake hay out in the field. My dad and grandpa farmed together, so it was a family operation whenever we were out there. So a lot of good memories on the family farm. As far as after high school, you could say I went to the University of Kentucky. I have a degree in natural resource conservation and management, and I do have a minor in plant and soil science. But I'll tell everyone listening that it's very minimal plant classes, mostly soil science classes. Was my area of emphasis on that. But after that, got a position with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet as a roadside environment district administrator. That's a really long title for what we used to be called agronomist. We were agronomists for Department of Highways. So all their vegetation management programs, that sort of thing. I was in northern Kentucky in those counties up there. So after that, I had the opportunity to go work at the Kentucky Department of Agriculture as a branch manager for the pest and weed branch. That branch handled all of our pesticide service programs. So container recycling, unwanted chemical collection, and we also administered the state's mosquito control program.
Okay.
So kind of a little unique function of the Department of Ag, but there's a state statute that requires the commissioner to provide mosquito control across the state. So that's one thing that we did.
Very appreciated.
Very appreciated.
Yeah.
A lot of calls during the summer with nuisance complaints and everything, but one of the big items that we did in that program would be related to flooding. So anytime there's flooding in like West Kentucky or kind of Northwest Kentucky, you have a lot of mosquito populations that bloom essentially after floodwaters happen. So that was a big part of what we did in those concentrated areas. But little known fact about the Kentucky Department of Ag, but
Yeah.
it's all done at night. So it's kind of behind the scenes, like people don't know what's happening until.
So what do you do? How do you spread it like from an airplane? How do you control mosquitoes?
So in severe cases, which we actually do this on several instances, but we do aerial mosquito control, where we hire a contractor essentially to provide or to apply a pesticide product from the air, and that has to be pretty severe cases. But we had a crew of I think we had 7 individuals that had fogger trucks. So we'd actually drive around right after dusk and do some mosquito fogging. So you may have seen stuff like that on TV, maybe in Florida.
Yeah.
But
You did that.
yeah, just localized control. But while I was at KDA, I was given the opportunity to be acting director for the Division of Environmental Services. So we not only did the mosquito or the pesticide service programs like the mosquito control, but we also did our pesticide regulation programs. So all of your outdoor pesticide applications with private applicators, commercial applicators, and as well as structural pest controls. So your indoor pesticide applications, we regulated that licensure and those applications. And then during the Quarles administration, I started during the Comer administration. During the Quarles administration, I was appointed to actual director of that division. So I did that until I got the opportunity to come to FSA.
Yeah.
when I joined FSA, I was hired as the acronym, it's COT, COT. So we're county operations trainees.
Okay.
But what that was, it's the CD in training program. So all new incoming CDs, people that are going to apply for county executive director positions, they start out in that training program. So I started with a class of 6. I was the only one that was not already with the agency.
Yeah.
So I was what I would joke and say I was lovingly referred to as off the street because I wasn't with the agency. Uh, but it gave me a unique perspective to farm programs and the administration of those farm programs. So
Yeah.
that's
And
kind of
then,
my career
yeah,
path.
I want to talk more about all of that. What I really want to ask is, I imagine when you are in high school in Taylor County and you're choosing a major and where to go to school, what inspired, like maybe did you even know these careers existed? If you did, how did you know? And then what kind of inspired this natural resources pathway for you?
So that's a good question, and it's kind of a unique process because when I entered uh, college, I wanted to be an agriculture engineer. Uh,
Hmm.
I love that aspect of how machines work and what makes them work.
Okay.
Um, but I learned very quickly that that wasn't a passion of mine. After going through the classes and talking to professors, and I will say that I had one adjunct professor who's actually a retired Cummins engineer who designed Cummins engines for John Deere tractors,
Hmm.
John Deere equipment. And he was talking to me. He's like, "Why are you taking this class?" And I was explaining that I wanted to be an engineer. And he's like, "Well," he kind of talked to me about what engineering was when you first started, I guess, entry level engineers. And it just not did not seem to like spark that passion in me. And
Okay.
I will say during my engineering classes, to be an ag engineer, I had to take a soils class. And of all the classes that I took, my soils class was one that I did the best in because I loved it.
Really?
And that really, Dr. Gerbeau at UK really sparked my interest in soil science. And that's really what got me started on the path of natural resources as it relates to soil conservation, um, which you may think like as a county executive director, a state executive director for FSA, what are you doing related to soil science? But
Yeah.
uh, we have conservation programs, and most of our programs are set up to make farmers better stewards of their farmland. So it
Yeah.
all ties together just with kind of a unique
Yeah.
path through that.
I think that's great. You found a passion in agriculture. You thought this was it, and you just followed a different, unique path. I think that's really interesting. And there is so much about natural resources and environmental sciences and how farmers are great stewards and conservationists of the land. And that's not by accident. Um, and you get to impact that so much. We'll talk about that more. I do want to ask, though, in the beginning here, is that when you work for the Department of Agriculture, you got to sit on the Kentucky FFA Foundation Board as the representative from the Department of Ag. And that was, I don't know how many years ago that was, David. Time goes too fast. But what did you learn from that experience of getting to be on a volunteer board? What were some of the things that you took from that you carry as a leader now?
So, with my connection to FFA and um, having been an FFA member in high school, not a very active FFA member, but I was a member. You see one side of the organization, which is the student side, and that's a great aspect of it. And that's what we're all here for, really. Is that student side of
Right.
it. But being on the foundation gives you a better perspective of those individuals that are contributing to the success of those students.
Yeah.
You see community members, business leaders that are just as passionate about FFA as some of our FFA members. And to me, that was an amazing perspective to
Mhm.
see from the FFA Foundation. These people that are you would think be far removed from FFA, but they're doing everything they can to give back, to
Yeah.
contribute, and to ensure the success of those students. That was to me that was the best experience of the foundation is to see leaders vested in the success of FFA members across the state.
That's right. We have incredible volunteer leaders who they are passionate about making sure that the opportunities that they had, future generations get to have, and they're even better. And that's what's helped us continue to grow. Now, let's pivot to the real reason that you're on the podcast today. But you have recently received a new title, and it comes as a federal appointment from the President of the United States. That's pretty incredible. Very few people can say that they have had a job like that. You're now the executive director of the Farm Service Agency here in Kentucky. And maybe FFA members have heard the word Farm Service Agency. You all are as great at acronyms as FFA is. So they may have heard FSA office, USDA, all kinds of acronyms in your office. But let's pretend that people really don't understand what you do or what the Farm Service Agency even is. Tell us, what is the Farm Service Agency?
So that's a great question. So I think there's a lot of farmers that don't really understand what FSA is and what we do. But we used to be called the ASCS office, and we still have producers that come in and say, call us the ASCS office. But that was the Agricultural Stabilization Conservation Service.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Right. We're really good at acronyms here.
Right.
But our primary focus is providing federal assistance to ag producers, whether that be related to disasters or price support, disaster assistance. I'll give you an example. So, we've seen the news coverage of the recent floods in, the Green River up to the Ohio River area up there, and then the tornadoes in Somerset and London. We have programs that help restore ag land to production. So that's one branch of what we do. But we also do price support for producers. So right now we have a program called ECAP, it's Emergency Crop Assistance Program. But we're providing direct financial assistance to producers to somewhat offset the low prices that we have right now on ag commodities. Our goal is to keep farms in production, keep them financially viable, and ensure that they can continue on, even in the future generations. So I like to tell folks, our name is Farm Service Agency. Our middle name is Service. That's what we're here to do. We provide a service to farmers, and most of the time that's in the means of financial assistance for various reasons.
Do you know what percentage of farmers you work with? That's probably a hard number to know, but if you are a newer beginning farmer, I would think one of your first visits is you should just go spend time, make an appointment at the FSA office and go, here's my plan. Like, what possibilities are there for me? What percentage of people do you think take advantage of your programs?
It could be a tough percentage, I guess, depending on
Yeah.
different types of operations. But we do have a large sector of agriculture that we miss, unfortunately, and we're working towards that. We have a big outreach program here at FSA to reach those folks that aren't benefiting from our programs. But I would say if we shot say 60 to 70%, I think could be in the realm of the individuals that we're actually working with that do, I would say are farmers, true production agriculture people that are out there, I think is probably where we're at right now, at least in the state. And, different parts of the country where you have some geographical, difficulties, I guess, probably decreases that percentage. And then, in our big ag states, I'm sure that percentage is quite a bit higher, but it's just kind of the nature of where you are.
So what opportunities do you wish new or young farmers really knew about that you think there's opportunity for them to grow through your programs?
So since we are a assistance type agency, we're there to protect their financial viability. So we have a lot of programs that are reactive when it relates to disasters. If it's something that's happened on your farm outside of your control, then we're here to help during those situations. We have a program like the Livestock Indemnity Program, where we actually provide assistance to offset some losses through natural disasters. So in the winter, when it gets cold, and you have, let's say you have a cow calf operation, newborn calves, cow
Yeah,
inevitably will have a calf when it's the coldest night of the year.
that's right.
Uh,
Hmm.
it's hard on that newborn calf if the cow isn't able to get it cleaned up in time and get it warmed back up. You may lose that calf. We have a program that helps compensate you for that loss, to provide assistance, because we know that's a big financial investment on that cattle farm to have a new calf. Uh,
Hmm.
and to lose it early on, to lose that revenue, is a big impact to the
Yeah.
operation. So that's where we step in and provide assistance. So for beginning farmers, when they're making that initial investment into farming, uh, they haven't built up the reserves to handle such losses. And that's where we can come in and provide that assistance. Also, too, just getting you plugged in to our other agencies that provide assistance. We're FSA, but our sister agencies like Rural Development, NRCS, RMA, uh,
Okay,
RMA.
stop. We got all right. What is NRCS? Who are those folks?
So RD, Rural Development, provide financial assistance grants, loans to rural communities.
Okay.
That's their primary function. The NRCS is the Natural Resource Conservation Service. They're our closest sister agency, but they do conservation programs on farms. So uh, let's say you have a grain farm and you have an area of your field that continues to wash away each year. You're just continually impacted by erosion. The NRCS can come in and help install a conservation practice, maybe like a grass waterway, to protect that part of the crop field, and then compensate you for the land that you're devoting to a conservation practice. So that's NRCS's focus, is conservation practices, and then RMA is the risk management agency,
Okay.
but they deal with crop insurance. So they're our crop insurance branch.
Yeah.
To where,
And in most communities, you are all like in the same building, though, right? In offices. So you probably not everywhere, but you could go and really find out so many opportunities for you and your farm if you're there and really take advantage of what's available.
sure. So we have USDA service centers, is what we call them.
Yeah.
But you have a service center in your community. There's 64 FSA service centers across the state, and in most of those, we have an NRCS presence, and then the rural development regional office or area offices are also co-located with us. So yeah, in most cases, we can be a one-stop shop and get you plugged in with each one of those
Mhm.
federal agencies that's here to really help the rural farming community in
Yeah.
Kentucky.
That's great. I'll tell you a silly story. My in-laws take advantage of the Trash for Cash program that's ran by NRCS office. Maybe that happens all over the state. I don't know if that's a local thing or a bigger one, but they were devastated this year when they did take their old appliances and you get paid for bringing them in instead of like dumping them in a creek. And
Right.
they were out of money that day. It
Oh,
was it was the saddest day. And but yeah, my husband was like, I will pay you to take them to the dump and not take them back home. So
right.
yeah, you all
Well,
have great programs.
well, that and something I didn't mention earlier, but the conservation districts. So that's a state and local government type operation. They're housed with us in most of those locations. If
Okay.
we have one of those 64 service centers out there, but uh, that's one of the good things about our agency too, is that we partner with state and local governments to really provide programs to the farmer.
Let's talk about a career in this field, whether if you are a young person right now and you're thinking like, yeah, I do want to help farmers, I want to work closely to agriculture. What kind of degree should somebody have and what's your pitch for coming to work for Farm Service Agency or your sister agencies?
Sure. So I will say, when I was in a county executive director, I told folks, and it's honest, like I'll still say it now, that was the best job I've ever had. Now I'm new at this one, so I'm going to give it some time before I say it's the best one.
Yeah.
But being in a place where you can provide that assistance to farmers, farmers are the best group of customers, honestly. All ag producers, because they work hard on their farm to be successful, and they appreciate when someone's on their side, and we're on their side when you come into
Yeah.
our office. So Uh, for one, coming to work with FSA, NRCS, rural development, or RMA, you've got really the best customer base that's out there. So that's one good aspect. Um, and I would say to enter into a career with one of these agencies, uh, in some cases, a college degree isn't required. We have program analysts in our offices that, there's not an educational requirement for that.
Okay.
So that's a good opportunity for those that just don't see college as a good fit. But if you do attend college, a degree in agriculture, um, ag communications is definitely a good one. Ag economics is a good area. My degree, natural resource conservation and management, is a good area because it gives you a bigger overview of agriculture, and you can find pieces of that uh, educational path that apply to the different agencies and the different parts of
Okay.
the job that we do. Uh, we have all kinds of levels of positions. If you don't see yourself as a manager, we have opportunities for you, even if you don't see yourself as a manager, to come work for FSA. If anyone is looking for a career in agriculture, especially a career to serve agriculture, I encourage you to come to FSA. I'll talk to you and do an even better sales pitch in person
Yeah.
if anyone's interested. But there are some we call them pathways. It's kind of like an internship through some of our agents, some of our sister agencies. So that could be a means to get started
Okay.
while you're in college already. But yeah, a lot of opportunities, a lot of growth. In many instances, the local service centers is a really sought after position because it's secure employment, and the type of work that we do, the ever changing nature of it too. It's not doing the same thing day in, day out, day in, day out.
Yeah.
So there's always a variety, which I know appeals to a lot of
Yeah.
young folks out there. So yeah, I encourage seeking employment with us,
Yeah.
and I look forward to talking to anyone if they have questions about what we do or how to get started.
Yeah. But we'll have them, we'll link some websites in our notes and people can check that out.
Sure.
Before we wrap up this portion, I do want to shout out that you have another connection to agriculture education, that your wife is an agriculture teacher at Taylor County High School.
Yeah.
She's some of the best to do it. What are some things that you wish people knew about the ag teachers behind the scenes?
They are a dedicated group of individuals. It's the common joke with teachers is, oh, you get the summers off. I don't know a single ag teacher that gets a summer off.
Right.
Which they are on extended contracts, but they work so much in addition to those
Yeah.
contracts, and to see kids come back, these former students come back and want to spend time with their ag teacher,
Yeah.
it is just impressive to me. That shows the impact that they have. And yeah, just I kind of should have mentioned this at the beginning, but my connection with FFA really grew after high school. Like I said earlier, I was a member of the Taylor County FFA, but I wasn't an active member. Looking
Hmm.
back, I wish that I was. It would have
Yeah.
given me so many more leadership and communication skills and opportunities that I wish I had had. But uh, I get to see FFA from this new perspective as a spouse of an ag teacher, and I was telling someone the other day, I see kids at intervals throughout their high school
Yeah.
career. So I may judge a creed contest and see a student, and then the next year they're doing a speaking contest, and I remember that student. I was like, man, they were so nervous during the
Hmm.
creed contest, but
Yeah.
now in the speaking event, they're like poised. As sophomores, they're already like giving speeches better than I could. And then you see them run for a chapter officer, and then maybe the next year, their senior year, you see them up there on stage as the chapter president. That is a very unique experience to have as a spouse of an ag teacher, of an FFA advisor, and it's rewarding to me to know, like, I see how busy my wife is, and then to see the fruits of that labor really brings it all home. We've
Yeah.
got what I would, so I got so many kids out there that I feel like I've seen them grow up through the years,
Yeah.
and they still now they're coming to the offices.
Yeah.
That's another unique experience is someone that knows Mr. Wayne, and then they come into the FSA office and they bought their first farm. They're looking to apply for this FSA loan to buy a farm or something, or to expand their cattle operation. That is a very unique experience as
Yeah.
well.
You get to
The
see that growth in a unique way. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it is. It's so rewarding, and I encourage anyone to be part of the FFA alumni,
Hmm.
contribute to the foundation, to their local chapters.
Yeah.
You will not. Uh, it's so rewarding. You will not regret contributing to those things, whether it's financially or just with your time as
Yeah.
well. Uh, it's such a
Well,
rewarding experience.
thank you, David. That was really kind words. And it is. It's so special. What we do works. That's why we keep doing it. And we are growing future farmers. You're a testament of that. Of, those how many of them maybe they would have been a farmer anyway? Some probably wouldn't have. Some probably felt inspired to join agriculture. Many did because of their FFA experience. So we always wrap up our show with asking people the same three questions. And my first question for you is what keeps you motivated as a leader?
What keeps me motivated? Uh, for me, it's the seeing the end results. If you get tied up in the process and get bogged down by the process, you can lose your motivation. But uh, I think back to projects, applications that I've completed, and seeing the excitement on a kid's face when they complete, whether they're agri-science for a project, and maybe I just advise them along the way, like that's the motivation for a lot of things. But keeping the end result in mind and focused on that makes everything else kind of like fall into place for me anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, as my self motivation is keeping my eye on the prize, I guess you could say at the end.
Yeah, that's great. The Kentucky FFA Foundation, we're a philanthropy. It's all about giving back time, talent, and treasure for the greater good. What is the most meaningful way you personally have gotten to engage in philanthropy with FFA or otherwise? Something else that's inspired you that it was so meaningful to you?
Sure. For me, I judge a lot of contests,
Yeah.
and I love doing it. I wish I could judge more, to be honest with you. So I always put feelers out for like other regions, and like, hey, do you need someone at your regional contest? Um, but seeing the kids grow, uh, seeing the same kids, if you judge several years in a row, you're going to see the same kids, and you see the progress they've made through their chapter. You see the name on their jacket, and one year it's just the name, and they've got their little green hand pen, and then maybe a couple years later you see it and it says Sentinel or Vice President. To see that makes it all worth it. So for me, a lot of it's my time, just
Absolutely.
contributing
Yeah.
my time to that for sure. But I was given an opportunity when I was on the FFA Foundation to, I guess, score, judge, rank, however you want to word it, but some grant opportunities
Yeah.
for students. And I know seeing the applications and the students' names, and then seeing that they're now like they're in a presentation on stage for a star in
Mm,
whatever category it was. That to me, that knowing where those funds went and
yeah.
seeing it
Yeah.
on the projection screen,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. Like as if you donate money and it's for one of those SAE grants or something like that, and you
Yeah.
can see the fruits of that donation, that's an awe-inspiring experience, really.
Yeah, that's really great. And then hopefully you see them in your office and they are young farmers, growing and leading in their community and keeping farms alive. So it's
I,
pretty special.
seeing their names on crop reports. That seems like a very mundane thing to see a crop report, but I can think in Taylor County, Jeffrey Sprouse, from a couple of years ago, and now seeing his name on a crop report,
Yeah. He
It's
was
just,
State Star Farmer from Kentucky, from Taylor County. So proud of him.
yeah. So now seeing that he's keeping that legacy going, and because he's still farming with his family there. To me, that brings it full circle
Yeah.
of where you first see kids come in and then they come back, and they're kind of just on a routine crop report, but it's still kind of neat to just to
God,
see
yeah.
them back and stuff.
Yeah. He was a super kid. It was great to meet him. And not a kid anymore. He's a grown up who's doing
Grown
awesome.
men, they're
Yeah.
also kids to me, but
I know. So this is our last question. This could be a silly, serious answer. It's just whatever's off the top of your head. But what is something that you cannot stop talking about right now?
something that I cannot stop talking about.
Answers have ranged from Kentucky basketball to a book to a walking pad to all kinds of things. Whatever is on your mind right now.
Well, I'm gonna brag on my son.
Okay.
So he's 12, and he played soccer this year. He played middle school soccer, and he's playing youth league soccer. So he's goalie, which is high pressure for a parent. I
Yeah.
mean, I know you think it's hard on the kids, but as a parent on the edge of your seat and like bite your nails off when the ball gets down on that end of the field. But seeing him as goalie and being proud of him in that role and the responsibility that he takes with that. But I know probably people at the office up here are like tired of hearing about me talking about
Yeah.
soccer season. But yeah, that's probably one thing that I have talked
Yeah.
about a lot here lately. Is
That's
just
great. Yeah, when you have children, people talk about, well, I feel like our kids are really the same age, and you think of babies and how busy you are with babies, taking bear babies. Nobody really prepares you for the season of youth sports and how your time is, and it's wonderful. It's not complaining, but it is a huge commitment for your family to get to do all those things too, and you just take such pride in it, and they work so hard. It's a lot. It's a different phase of parenting that's fun. It helps you.
yeah, it's a different type of time commitment because
Yeah.
you're not uh, changing diapers anymore, but you're making sure they've got their uh, their bat and their glove and their
Uh-huh.
uh, all that
That's
ready in
right.
their bag or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different stage of life, but it's I think so. Relating it back to FFA, but seeing the kids grow, seeing your own kids grow and become young people,
Mhm.
young adults, seeing an FFA, seeing these students go from goofy, awkward freshmen to seniors that are up on stage and like they're adults, but they're becoming adults, and the impact that FFA can have on that. And I see it too when they come in the office, how poised they are. If we do interviews for an employee and you've got someone that was in FFA, like how above and beyond they stand out as a candidate for a position, even just because of
Right.
that what that organization has poured into them.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That's
amazing.
wonderful. Well, David, thank you for being with us. We just really wish you so much luck in your new role and can't wait to watch you just lead and thrive. And I hope that if people see you out and about, they say, hey, that they heard you on the podcast. And it's great to see people who love and appreciate FFA just leading in the places that you are. So thanks for what you do.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. And this is it, guys. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. Growing Kentucky's Leaders is a podcast brought to you by the Kentucky FFA Foundation. Our music is performed by Bourbon County FFA member Joe Fritch. Artwork is by Julie Fritch Creative. Your hosts are Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink, and you can find us on all social platforms at Kentucky FFA.